Well, welcome back, Rahi. We missed you last week.
I missed being awake last week.
That was cool. That intro was cool. At first, I was like, "Oh, it's like a commercial." I was like so out of my. So I like stopped looking and then I looked back and went, "It's still going." Oh wait, this is not a commercial. This is the intro. I'm playing D&D today. Okay.
Were you looking for the Netflix skip intro button?
So my girlfriend hates it. I never like fast forward the commercials anymore. I just wander off in my own thoughts. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, fast forward."
Let the advertisements permeate your mind.
Yeah.
So last weekend, we finally made it to Skullport. Paid the tax, utilized some of the gathered information and other stuff that Alexander had acquired back at the Drow town, and we have a pretty good understanding of how Skullport is laid out. It's laid out in heights as well as areas that are a little bit more posh and exclusive versus areas that are a little bit more slum and kind of run down. We begin to discover different potential locations, the Poison Quill, as well as, I believe, we spent some time in a local tavern. Got to know the difference between the Skullport Watch and some other nefarious individuals that reside down here. And the team took an opportunity to not only rest and gather information, but seemed to finally get enough info and convince a very innocent passerby that they need to show them towards a place that Gelmir could receive some healing or some restoration due to the cursed effect that he was under. The team was guided over into a small temple district that seemed mostly abandoned and run down, with the exception of a shadow temple, which afforded more than enough opportunity to hopefully restore Gelmir's age and undo the curse. The team was led into the temple by the priestess. She had asked them to remain outside the chamber. Gelmir was taken into the chamber. At this point, that's where we last left off. And I'll say that the priestess pokes her head out. There's like a wafting thing of like white and black ash smoke that kind of comes out as she cracks the door, and it smells like herbs and incense. And you can kind of hear chanting in the background. This is going to take a few minutes. To be honest, it's going to take the remainder of the day. Why don't you and your friends go and spend some time in Skullport while I help your... She looks in the chamber. While I help your young goblin friend here recover. He's doing quite well. It's just the curse is a bit more pronounced than we expected. So maybe come back in the morning. Yes. Good day. Door shuts.
This is kind of like, I've been in towns before where you leave your laundry with the team and they always say it's going to start out as, an hour or two, and always the next morning it's going to turn into the afternoon. I mean, why is nothing ever simple with Gelmir?
So, Tyr and Rahi, I ended up just trading my sleeping mushrooms in the transaction to get him fixed, but I'm a little bit concerned because these are more of death priests than they are life priests.
Gelmir had one foot in the grave, I would say. Well within their area of expertise, I would imagine.
The glass is always half full for Rahi.
Yeah, Witcher did a number on convincing Gelmir. Basically had the priest lie and say that he would come into contact with tons of gold and gems, and after this process was completed, he would be very wealthy.
I
What do you
mean, as
think-
long as you didn't give him a deadline, I imagine that will be the case given his ambitions. But
Do you think we should like stick around or try to? Should we knock to get more details, or is everything okay? How does this work? I've never done this before.
what I would prefer to do is figure out a way that we can easily get from Skullport back to the surface and back down again, if that is
Oh.
possible.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about it, but just kind of, not out in this hallway, in this door, in this temple. I got some info. Don't worry. So
All
let's.
right.
Are we? So we kind of have an update. Are we assuming everything's okay? Should we? Where do you guys want to go? I kind of want to get set up. I kind of want to get set up at like the overflowing urn, maybe.
I want to take Tyr's recommendation to an inn, get all rested, and then go to this House of Pain and kick their asses.
Of course you do.
Yeah. So Rahi, there's an incident that happened in the bar, and
Well, come on,
Why?
Alex was almost
go
sold to
there.
slavery. And we need protection. Let's go find a gun.
My memory flickers like a candle these days. How did I forget about all of this? Actually,
Well,
this is
let's go to the inn.
concerning.
Let's try the overflowing urn first, and we'll talk.
okay.
Sounds good.
Come on.
So, let's. I start heading back towards the inn.
Okay, so you guys leave the temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We know where the inn is, right? Or roughly?
Yeah, I mean the way the upper threads and the cliffs that you came down. Currently, you guys are still in the upper, like the height of the threads. You haven't really. You started to progress down towards the middle section of the threads, which is where you found the Shadow Temple. But there is still like the cove, where like the main organization, like what they call the lower tier, where the Poison Quill would be. There was a mention of Dead Man's Corner as well as a possible place of interest. And yes, of course, there was also the House of Pain, which seems to be either a gambling den associated with fighting pits, or it felt very nefarious because the Watch had tried to set up Alexander in a very poignant way.
And I started a bar fight, and then
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
To cover your escape, you guys proceeded to cause the overflowing urn to descend into chaos.
No, it's the worm's gullet.
Was it the Worm's Gullet? Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You're going to the overflowing
We're
urn.
going to, yeah.
Gotcha. You guys are actually over at the Worm's Gullet on the other side of the threads.
In
Because-
Wintru's head, she's thinking the overflowing urn sounds nice, considering that what's the other one called? The Dead Man's.
Dead Man's
What is-
Corner.
Yeah, that one not so much.
and I rolled like the best rolls of my life and got a couple pouches that I still haven't opened yet. Like I stole it from people that were like falling over, and
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna go ahead and. Would you like me to set up the rooms once we get there? The overflow, yeah.
yeah.
I'm kind of thinking. I mean, no offense, Alex, but like just dropping priceless rubies around everywhere in an attempt to.
It's
of
been a long journey. It's been
Yeah.
at least, you guys make it think that it's only been a week. I feel like we've been down here for a long time. I just wanted to enjoy some luxuries, okay?
Yeah.
I was willing to put my gold to the gold to, I'm tired, man. We need to go to
Yeah.
sleep.
You especially. I mean, I don't know how you figured that the House of Pain was somewhere that sounded restful and accommodating. I mean, like you wouldn't go for that sort of thing at like the Hammer Slam Toe or something like that. It doesn't.
Well,
I
why
just
would
don't
they
get it.
lie to me? It just
Let's just go. Let me handle this. You ponder that as we. Yeah, come on.
this is why I don't trust anyone. honestly. I got lied to. I got tricked. That's why I want to go to this House of Pain now. It's almost destiny. I'm gonna. They want to do a gladiator type of environment. Maybe we could do some 2v2s, some 3v3s. You know, I'll take them down. You know, I'm ready.
Yeah, Jason's programmed a whole mini game where we actually brawl or something. It's a whole Mad Mage PvP encounter.
I'm hoping. You know, there's always hope. You know?
All right, let's make it.
Poor
So
Jason.
then-
He's like, oh my god, this group.
What have I
This is
done?
really going off the book.
Going off the
just
rails.
continue with the quest, please.
I wouldn't mind some R&R. There's some things I would like to test, some magic items that I need to do some experiments with.
Yeah, maybe keep that on the DL when we set up with whoever's running the overflowing urn. Like, you kind of don't want to go in there and be too explicit about what you're doing, how. You know, just let's act like we're just tired and we need to rest, and our main goal is to eat and rest.
Does anybody want this dagger, a venomous strike?
I could always use a second one.
Well, if you can use it, otherwise I'm gonna sell it.
Well, go ahead and sell it.
You sure you don't need it?
I mean, the dagger of lightning it's been covering our needs pretty handily so far.
I'm just trying to think if there would be any way that I could improve my surgical procedures with a dagger, a poisoned dagger. That doesn't really click, I don't think. Might be interesting for a vivisection, but that would just be doing it in hard mode effectively.
It's a nice dagger. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful dagger. I mean, somebody would pay a lot.
Then I
know.
guess it'll be utilized that way. Let's go into the inn, please.
Let's go into the end.
So as you guys leave this space, the temple itself is kind of immediately in the background of your minds as you come out of the front, back into the kind of rundown, shabby, kind of abandoned complex of. You get the feeling that this area of this part of Skullport, no one really cares about. Occasionally people come and go. Maybe if they suffer injuries or illness, they might arrive and, scrounge for assistance. But for the most part, heading out of here and heading north towards the overflowing urn, everyone go ahead and give me perception checks. As your heads are a bit, on a swivel. I mean, this is a dangerous place.
That's a filthy 20, sir.
Okay.
23.
Nice.
Filthy 20.
Nat 20 for a total of 19.
We're just on it right now.
How perceptive.
After not really remembering what happened for the last couple of hours, I'm drinking in everything I can see, trying to etch it into my mind as much as I can.
Hey, you don't think we should have inquired more when the priestess kind of popped out there before we left? Like maybe procedure, best of intent, suss that out a little bit. You think everything's above board there?
If it is not, and we don't get our pet goblin back, we know where to start looking. And we know
Are you guys paranoid?
I wouldn't call suspicion paranoia. I think that's a bit panicky. I mean, it is a temple of death, and I don't know if they try to put dark spirits and things, or sacrifice for the greater gain of their god, or standing with their god. Okay, maybe I am paranoid. All right, let's just keep going. Maybe you're right, Alex. Maybe I need some sleep.
If Gelmir were to be possessed by some malicious spirit, do you think we would even notice a difference?
That's a good question, actually. Oh. Again, let's just get. Oh man, let's get there.
I'm pretty sure Gelmer has a lot of gems in his case, so I don't want them to steal any of that. Got to make sure.
They might have more. Again, I'm just thinking of nefarious intentions and everything now, and maybe it's just maybe you're right, Alex. The exhaustion, everything else. Let's go ahead and rest.
What have I done?
Never
I
stop
don't
the
know if
party.
you guys should be in this city. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, you should be. You should be worried. This is
And
the
without
first
your somehow, as much as I want to believe Windrude is like maintaining
sanity.
yeah, I wonder how much Gelmir is actually the balance.
It's an uncomfortable thought, actually.
So as you guys wander out of the old temple district, you pass by you pass nearby the old markets while heading over towards the overflowing urn. The old markets are currently closed. It is considered quite late in there's actual daylight for once, right? Because this area has a slight exposure to a cove entrance and exit off in the distance. And so for the very first time, you've been able to follow the idea of the end of a day. Although it's very small and minor, you can't see it quite as clear as you'd like to. And if I'm reading my notes correctly, we're wrapping up day 8 at this point.
Yeah.
But Skullport still offers a lot of opportunity. You're passing by areas that now appear to be a little bit more well kept. While you came out of the Worm Gullet and that area of the Threads, this area where the overflowing urn is, I wouldn't say it's high end, but it could be compared to what you were just walking out of the slums where the Worm's Gullet was.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of what feels like private residences here, all stacked neatly, tightly next to each other, all with their own kind of guards at gates. As you guys walk up these thin, narrow streets, you're being eyed with the casual suspicion of people whose job it is to keep people out that shouldn't be in. You do come across a couple interesting shops. You walk by a shop that's closed. There's a sign on the front of it called the Mystic Marketplace. You also walk by another curio shop. It's called the Saltwater Slipway. There's even another shop called the Tincture Tent. And these seem to be small shops that are run to maybe fence or offload goods that people have acquired down here. Not all that dissimilar than the Poison Quill that's down over on the south end of the old market. But there's definitely an economy here, but it seems very kind of close to the chest.
Mhm.
Before long, you come into a little bit more of an opening, and here you find a 3-story structure. And you could see the sign, a metal brass sign hanging that says the overflowing urn. And the sign is actually in the shape of a ceremonial urn. You can see steps that lead up to the porch, and the porch goes all the way around the first floor. There are windows. The place is kept up. It's nice. It appears to be more of a place to stay than a drinking establishment. The people that are coming and going, few and far between, but the few that you can see look not all dissimilar from the level of professionalism that you guys look like. Just this kind of people that are down here to do their business, conduct terms, make their money, and then get out. And they seem to carry themselves with a little bit more of an air of confidence than some of the other population that you've run into. You could hear the music of bards playing on the inside, but more of a casual, lilty sound, not necessarily the aggressive kind of sound of the threads or of the worm's gullet. The second story is another porch that goes all the way around. The same with a third story. It's almost like somebody took a above ground 3-story inn and then reassembled it here. It has all the kind of monikers of a nice establishment at one point. The paint is peeling a bit. There's a bit of maintenance that it could use, but by far one of the more nicer of the buildings. You guys are currently out front of it. What would you guys like to do?
So, if I head in here and negotiate the rooms, that's fine?
No, Winchard. I should negotiate the rooms.
Well, how about you negotiate your room?
Oh, that's a good point.
How high is the sign for the room? For the urn?
I would say it's hanging off the front of the building about 15 feet up in the air off of the kind of like a wooden pole hanging out over the second floor patio.
I'm just going to say, for flavor, as we walk by, I'm like a middle school kid, I'm going to jump up and try to slap the sign.
Give me athletics as you do that.
All right. Let's see. Athletics, 15.
15. You kind of use a low brick wall to give yourself the ability to push yourself up, and you guys watch as Tyr smacks just the edge of the metal sign. Kind of gives a nice little metallic thud sound as he smacks it.
Still got it.
This brings back memories of corralling groups of unruly children.
And then eating them.
Haven't crossed that line yet.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how much it costs to stay a night.
All right, well, okay. Well, Alex, you said you were going to negotiate your own sort of situation here?
I mean, what's the situation you're negotiating?
How about this? How about we go in there? I tell them I'll play the night, and we get free room and board.
Oh, well, that actually sounds good.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's a great musician.
I would love that. That would be great.
Singing, it's there.
Well,
All right.
I don't think we're going to get too critical or in depth about his skills. Tyr, lead on. Let's do this.
Okay.
So as the four of you file in through the doors push inward. As the four of you come in, the ground floor is relatively nice, but it's a hodgepodge of gathered furniture over time. There's places to sit and read. There's 2 fireplaces on either end of the ground floor. You can see a single spiral staircase that leads up towards the second floor and the third floor. But here's the grand kind of display. Obviously, the second and third floors are where all the rooms are. Mm-hmm. And that is where you begin to realize the interior of the space is hollow. So you can actually see like an atrium all the way up to the roof. And you can see people lingering on the different floors, on railings, either in quiet conversation or sharing drinks. There's a handful of people sitting around the fires. This gives you the feeling of a place that supports those that are here to conduct business to a certain degree. A very kind of thin and gaunt-looking hobgoblin is behind the bar, but he's very neatly dressed. His orange and yellow skin patterned around a few signs of tattoos. He looks older, like maybe retired. Tufts of white hair kind of coming out from underneath a tricorner hat that kind of keeps his hair under control. And he seems to be filling out something in a book when he sees the four of you come in. Oh, hello. Looking for rooms, are we?
Yes, sir. Looking for room and board for me and my 3 compatriots.
Rooms of your own or rooms to share?
I think rooms of our own is preferable, but it all depends on price.
Well, if you'll share a room, I could bring down the price. If you want individual rooms, they may not be near each other. They may be on different floors, as I have only a handful of vacancies. My main studio room is available in the North Tower if you wish to pay for a little bit more exclusivity.
How much are we talking?
Give me persuasion as a base as you begin to negotiate with him.
All right. 27.
Ooh, damn bards. Damn bards. Damn bards. Yeah, it's not that. That's a really shitty insight. Well, judging by those that are with you, and you notice that he kind of looks over at Rahi, like, and then looks at Alexander and the small stature of Wintrude. I believe the studio tower would be ideal for you and your friends. Some privacy. You seem to be those that look like that might be here on very specific business. Shall we say 25 gold a night?
How about this? So we just came from the Worm's Gullet, where...
Why in the world would you linger in such a place of destitute?
Because we were unaware of the existence of this fine establishment until recently.
Well,
But,
we try to do what we can. It is quite nice, isn't it?
we did play a nice show, and how about this? If I play tonight, how about free room and board for me and my companions?
Wait. Your bardic troupe, then?
More of a solo act. See, these are my 2 bodyguards, and this is my manager.
Oh. Is there a bit of infamy in your name? What do you travel as?
Just here. This Friday only.
Interesting.
That's right.
I mean, we're always looking for entertainment. Obviously, it's very late this evening. How about this? How about you play for us tomorrow night? You guys could have 2 nights room and board. If you require a third, then the 25 gold will kick in. How about that?
That sounds perfect.
However,
Thank you very much.
I would appreciate you splitting any earnings that you make during your performance. Let's say 70-30.
I'll be even more accommodating. We'll go 50-50.
50-50.
Upkeep of this fine establishment.
I think he was saying 70-30 in favor of him.
He was.
I know.
Well, you seem to come with your own security. You have your own manager as well. Very well. Perhaps a sample of your ability to perform, then?
Perfect. What would you like to hear?
I would say that most of our clientele appreciate music that allows them to work as well as discuss business. Something passive and in the background. The hobgoblin's like tapping his foot. Give me a performance check, here. With advantage, because that was a hell of a persuasion roll.
All right,
I rolled a really shitty insight.
21.
Okay. Bought and sold.
Amazing.
Tomorrow night, I expect to have some important clientele here that will be discussing some important matters. I believe that your music for the evening's consultation will be quite beneficial for them. See me tomorrow, and I will give you the information and time when they'll arrive. They will be using one of our private rooms on the bottom floor. So you are hired. You and your friends, and he reaches under the key or under the counter, places like this, like shiny metal key that looks like a kind of typical skeleton key, but it's in good shape. Third floor, northwest corner, you'll find a door. On that door, it says private suite. This key allows you entrance and exit. There's a small staircase that then takes you up to the tower studio. It's the very back, very difficult for people to see. Technically, it's a fourth story structure. I just never did anything with. It used to be my own private residence, but now I reside. Due to my age and my gout, I tend to stay on the first floor, as walking all those stairs makes life a bit painful for me.
Yeah, that gout can be a killer.
My understanding is it can kill you. Yes,
Yeah.
unfortunately, well, unfortunately, we do not have the best healers down here, and we don't always have the best ability to take care of ourselves, living the lifestyle that we do. But I'll be very eager to see you perform tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure doing business. Looking forward to tomorrow night.
Before we leave, can you send up some food? You know, so that, like we're pretty hungry. We would
give me a persuasion check there, Alexander, as you begin to beg for food.
Wait, you said he's got
24.
gout. He's got gout, right? Like, is there any medicine in this day? In this,
I mean, gout would be kind of considered a disease of the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you had cure disease or greater restoration, it might help him.
Maybe I'll just go first level healing word, soothe the pain a little bit for my boy.
Okay. Alexander, you have advantage on your persuasion check then.
I mean, I rolled a 24. I don't even.
Oh, okay,
I wouldn't be able to roll higher.
as Tyr just kind of briefly lays his hand on the knee and leg of the hobgoblin. What are you? Oh, that's quite nice. I wasn't aware that you had such skills. Oh, yes, of course. He goes, oh, my leg hasn't felt this good in months. I will have the kitchen send up a sampling of foods and drink for you. Absolutely.
Exquisite. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. And he's like bending his knee and he's like hopping up and down on it, and his teeth fall out by accident. He quickly picks them up, jams them back into his mouth. Wish I could fix that problem too. And you hear footsteps as you guys walk away. Two individuals walk in, and he's like now catering to them. You guys are in the ground floor of the sitting area and the reception area. It feels like the kitchen's off to the right, and the private rooms for gatherings and other purposes are off to your left. It's a pretty substantially sized building. The center stairwell leads up to the second floor and then up again to the third floor. What would you guys like to do?
Go to the room.
So head up to the suite.
Okay. I guess it has been a while since you guys have taken a long rest, huh?
Well, I never got to sleep on the last one.
I was gonna say, Alex. Yeah, he's running on fumes probably.
You guys begin to walk up the central staircase, passing the first floor, and you can see onlookers, maybe a half dozen or so, in either drinks or conversation or flirtation, depending on what you see. Kind of just that strange atmosphere of a nice but secretive place that people meet. You then go up the next set of stairs to the third, and sure enough, in the northwest corner, you can see the private door. The key fits. Door opens. It's about a 15-foot staircase up, and it immediately just kind of emerges into a very tall, kind of like studio that's built with multiple rooms, like a sitting area near this panoramic window that overlooks down into the threads. And it's kind of like steepled and arced up to give it the appearance that it's got a lot of room. The 5 rooms attached are relatively small. They're big enough for a bed, a small footlocker, a small end table, and a relatively nice bed, decent linens. And the moment that you arrive into the space, you watch as a little trap door opens up in the corner. And then you watch as this little goblin comes out of the corner. Oh, hello. And he's like wiping food off on his apron. He's got this long, kind of like stringy hair. He's got maybe like 2 teeth. And he's just looked very old and run down. Yeah, I'll be your caretaker while you're here. I just received a message from the kitchen. You're expecting food, yeah?
Yeah.
So I'll go take care
would
of
be
that.
yes.
I'll go take care of that food for you. I'll be right back. And he disappears through the trap door. You can hear his little feet clunking like he's going a pretty far down distance.
Great. Another goblin. I'm going to go. I'll take the tiniest room, if that's okay with
They're
the
all
group.
pretty much the same size.
Oh,
Just kind of like they're structured around the perimeter of the space. There's some casual sitting and gathering points that they kind of all surround. And then there's the window and some chairs that overlook, the north part of the threads. And down into like the slummy section of Skullport.
I was going to take about 20 minutes just to kind of leave, just stow like journals, unnecessary stuff where I can come back and write and things, but just keep like my weapons and essential sort of things on me.
Okay.
And then head back out to the common area.
Okay.
Rahi, when you got a second, meet me back out here and let's talk about that getting back to Waterdeep, like you were saying.
All right. I might need some time. There are a couple of things I need to attend to.
Sure.
So
I just want to look through. Nope. Sorry, you can go.
All right. I'm going to take out what's his name's
Notes.
you go first. I need to check through my inventory.
I just want to check through the pouches that I took and see what I found, and then fall right asleep. So basically, my.
I'm gonna go into the common area. I'm gonna study the current performers, just kind of see what they're doing, see how the crowd is reacting.
Okay.
A little bit of a game film.
Okay. You give me a performance check as you begin to kind of like take notes, practice. Like I would say you also notice that down in the probably down in the more rundown portions of Skullport, the music is more aggressive. Go ahead.
24.
Okay, so you're practicing certain takes and different takes on the music. There's a feeling that in certain areas the music's very aggressive based on the clientele. The music here feels more passive, more background, more performative, and more casual. While down in where the Worm's Gullet was, if you go into other like kind of rundown taverns that are just drinking establishments, you get the feeling that it's all about flair, pizzazz. You haven't really seen the outer threads yet, so you're not really sure what those places are like. But there's definitely kind of like sea shanties, seaport theme, aquatic theme, sea themed, kind of like dark themed entertainment seems to be what's preferred in most of the areas. But here it seems a little different. A little bit more passive, a little bit more backgroundy, not nearly as aggressive.
All right.
All right. I'm going to take out Theo's staff, holding it in front of me. I'm wearing his boots and wearing his circlet as well. And you mentioned something about being able to cast some sort of double. Like there was some sort of set bonus between those items. Do you remember anything about that?
I hope so. It's in my notes.
What are we paying him for?
You recall that at some point when you had all these like everything on and you were focusing on it. One of the effects when they were all tied together and being worn at the same time was this echo of the original bear known as Xeno. And it created this shadow echo, almost like an echo of your form. And you get the feeling it's definitely tied in to the items somehow, but you're not entirely sure yet how that echo kind of materialized. But you recall it happening.
We'll be right back.
I'm going to focus on the staff and basically will that sort of feeling of that echo to separate from myself.
As you grip the staff, you feel this cold energy and this shadowy energy begin to pour out of the staff. And then mimicking your form, you see your echo form pulsing there, and then it solidifies. You basically now have the echo ability as long as you wield the staff. And mirroring you, like as you stand there holding the staff, now you have an echo shadow about 5 feet from you that looks exactly like your form, but it's a shadow representation of your form. But you manipulate it. You cause it, you command it, it moves, it reacts. You watch as it picks up a book and places a book down. It seems to be controllable, and it seems to be functional. It feels like it'll last up to an hour until either it's destroyed or until you disperse it. And as you attune to the staff, if you choose to remain attuned to the staff, you would also recognize that this can happen twice per long rest.
All right. As one final test, I extend my palm outward and will the echo to hit my palm as hard as it can.
You watch as the echo brings its form back, and you feel this very pronounced strike into your hand, hard enough to stun it a little bit. So it seems like it does have combat ability.
Oh, the fun we'll have. And I will the echo to merge back with me.
The energy funnels back into the staff.
I'm out of my depth. I am very much out of my depth. Anyway,
So
go out to follow Wintrude at this point.
Okay. So Wintrude, as you're listening to Tyr play music in the background, and he seems to be practicing different performatives, and he's doing it quite well. As you settle into one of the oversized chairs, within moments, Rahi comes out and is now in the common area along with you.
So I ran into a colleague back at the Worm Skullet. I don't know if you ever worked with Bimble. He's another researcher there at the Keep, sort of same job as me. Well, he kind of does more of his own research nowadays instead of tracking down tomes and whatnot. But anyways, getting off topic, he pointed me to a certain Alaric. I hope I'm saying his name right. And he seems to be located, let me see, at the Clockwork Gnome. All sorts of information, but especially how to get some sort of passage out back into the bay and up into back to Waterdeep when we choose to head up there. Were you thinking? I was thinking maybe we could head up there after we finish some of our business here, and maybe once we get Gelmir back.
Yes, you mentioned you needed to get back to your libraries. There was a temple I needed to visit up there as well.
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. Sorry about that. What?
Go ahead.
Well, I need to check in with my parents and my brother, and then get back to Candlekeep because I gotta I got some funding for this whole Blackcloak expedition, and yeah, the folks who gave me the green light for that would probably want to hear from me at this point, and I got plenty to share, so I would benefit me to check in.
I'm curious how much you'll tell them about what we might have unleashed down there and what damage we might have done to his followers alongside that.
Oh, well, I mean, we're pretty honest in the organization. If you want me to yeah, nothing ventured, nothing gained is kind of the unofficial motto we got going on over there. And we've made some whoopsies over the, few thousand years. Over. Did you know that in the dungeons of Candlekeep, there's like a giant ghost dragon that wanders through some of the tunnels and crypts? It's not all just books and paper cuts. I'll tell you that much.
I understand there was no judgment, merely curiosity.
Oh no offense.
I guess
I'm
that
telling
gives
you.
me.
You got to come along with me. You have, besides all the books and everything, just the tavern, the countryside. I mean, the trip up there is fantastic as well. But let's see how this all goes, and let's hope Gelmir, if we can take a few years, give him a few years back. I almost said the opposite. My head is kind of a little bit loopy right now, but sitting back and just putting some stuff, just getting some plans set up is nice.
Mm.
But what I was
So
going
we
to do
visit
is,
your.
yeah. Well, do you want to come along to the Clockwork Gnome? I mean, you and I going together would be grand. I mean, I don't want to sound mean or anything, but even Tyr coming too. But every time we take Alex somewhere, he thinks there's some sort of secret angle or something we're going to play to some sort of advantage, and then it just becomes a bit of a fustercluck, and I don't need that. Did you guys? Well, it's still like in the afternoon. Do you guys want to head out like Tyr? Do you think you want to take a run over to the Clockwork Gnome and see what's going on?
Yes. I'm game.
Okay. Yeah. Let's keep a little bit of money on us and some weapons and stuff as we head over. You never know for anything, but let's.
I like
let's
how
go.
Mike had his headphone on the whole time.
Yeah, I know. I heard everything.
I do keep that thing on me.
But let's go see what this Alaric has to say.
I will follow your lead again.
All right, come on.
So, who's all going to the Clockwork Gnome?
I think it's we three, and then Alex is sleeping, right? He's actually trying to recover.
I mean, what are you doing, Alexander? You could hear the three of them out in the main common area discussing plans before settling in for the evening.
I just wanted to see if I stole anything of value. And
that's right, the small bags. So I believe there were 3 small bags you took, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. One bag is filled with 12 silver pieces and 18 gold pieces. Okay. Another bag is filled with assorted small, unrefined gem chips, like fragments of rubies, emeralds, and diamonds. Like maybe they were using it as a component pouch, possibly, related to the ability to cast magic. Another one that you stole simply has a brass key in it, a very small brass key.
Okay. And I obviously I think to myself, like, that mixed with the keys. Well, I guess I don't know. Did Gelmir?
Well, you took them off of different people, because you did it on your way out. So each bag was stolen from 3 different people.
Right. But I guess what I'm thinking, but I guess I might not know that Gelmir took the key, is that I probably should wait to get it identified with Gelmir. But
possibly.
I don't know if I knew that already. Anyways, yeah, so I just want to go to bed.
Okay. You kind of take off all your gear, crawl into the twin-sized bed, and before long, the 3 of you out in the common space, you can hear Alexander already just slipping into sleep. Like he's already snoring.
I guess the worry I'm gonna have though is if they leave and the food comes, I might think of it as like an intruder, right? Like I'm like, so I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Well, I'll say just as the three of you are discussing going to the gnome works, the little old goblin comes in, sets a big tray down on the common room table, and it's just meats, cheeses, and like some ale that's been brought up, and kind of like shredded bread in baskets, just kind of like an evening snack as opposed to more of an evening meal. Well, there you go. And he's just standing there with his hand out. Yeah.
Hey, this is really great of you. And I take out a gold and how about we call you if we need anything else, okay?
Okay. Yeah, my kind of people. He stuffs it. Yeah, okay. And he kind of, his bare feet flapping as he crawls over to the corner, opens up the door, and you hear him kind of crawl into the trap door. You hear like a locking sound, and then you just hear him mumbling and complaining. They're all the same. So boring, so boring. And you can just hear his voice disappear as he just finds his way into his quarters.
Man, I'd give it a platinum if it would have kept him away forever. Okay.
So with Alexander safely tucked in his room, the three of you head back out into Skullport, looking for the gnome the clockwork gnome.
Clockwork gnome, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, Skullport late at night is always interesting. So with the map that you have and the understanding of the town that you have, give me your survival check with advantage, because you do have the map and you do have the information that you gained over at the Worm's Gullet and to where this place might be located. It's supposed to be near the Poison Quill, attached to it in structure over in the old market.
I rolled 18.
Okay. So you guys wander out of the upper tier through into the middle tier, which is often referred to as the Ventnor. You wander into the old marketplace, which is for the most part closed down currently. However, at the south end of the marketplace, you can see two buildings that kind of stand out. One very much looks like a tinkerer's shop, and the other one looks very much like an alchemist shop. The one that says the Poison Quill looks closed for the evening. The one that says the Clockwork Gnome, that's the tinkerer's shop, there is a lantern inside, so there's light broadcasting out. The porch and stairs that lead up into the door is slightly open inward, and you can hear the sounds of like whizzing, buzzing, whirring, mechanical sounds. Every now and then you can hear the sound of an arcane spell kind of being executed, and then everything in the shop kind of flares. You could hear someone inside kind of mutter to themselves.
Well, let's hope this Alaric's in. Let's go ahead and step in and see what we got.
As you guys come into the shop, it is a montage of small like gears and mechanical components, either stacked, hanging, or neatly sorted throughout the shop. You could also see small animated objects kind of moving and shifting throughout the shop. In the very center of the shop, you could see a gnome kind of hard at work, and her long braided hair kind of coming down her back. She seems to be tinkering with something. And then here's the three of you come in, and hello. Well, it's kind of, I didn't lock up and I didn't. Well, she grabs her leather apron, puts it on, and puts her hat on. She steps up away from the workbench, and in her small 2.5-foot form, she comes over to the counter. She steps up on like a step stool to be a little bit taller to look over the counter, and she's all, well, normally I'd be closed right now, but you're here. And you're very big and very big. What can I do for the three of you?
Well, I'm looking for Alaric.
Oh, I'm his daughter, Alma.
Oh, we had some questions about safe passage to Waterdeep, possibly within the next few days. If that were possible
She
to
looks
speak
around.
to
She goes. Shh, shh. She climbs down off the step stool, runs up to the front, closes the door, and draws the curtains.
Okay, sorry.
She dims the lantern, comes back. Who sent you here?
I ran into Bimble.
Oh, whew. Okay.
He and I are colleagues over at Candlekeep, but he's down here doing research, and I'm working on a few collections of lost tomes for the institution.
Yes, old Bimble came here and bought some books and some writing material, and, well, he currently has paid the fee to be escorted in and out through the cove, and he's already come and gone to the city multiple times. Alaric is currently on his way back from Waterdeep. He had to retrieve some items that he had been promised and paid for, and they had recently arrived in the harbor. So he should be back in a day or so. He's currently not here. Unfortunately, I'm not necessarily allowed to negotiate passage. I've never actually escorted people through the passage before. However, there's always a first. Its business has been quite slow. How many people would need passage above?
I would say, if I may interject,
Yes,
and I'll
yes.
say, if it makes you more comfortable, I'll speak to her in Gnomish. If it makes me more comfortable, we can converse this way.
Oh,
With
wow,
passage
I'm
for
always...
5.
Yes, I love speaking my native tongue. Absolutely.
Passage for 5.
For 5. And
Us 4 or
would
us
you
3.
require return passage as well? Or is it a
Yes.
one-way trip?
We would be looking for return passage.
Very good. And now she's scribbling notes, and she's writing on a small piece of paper, and she's looking at Rahi, and you watch as she like does like this, and then looks at Wintrude, and then looks at. Can you describe the size of your other 2 compatriots? Are they large, medium, small? Would you say?
The other is a medium tiefling, and the last one is a goblin, on her size.
Oh, a goblin. That's
He's
rare.
very
We
well
don't-
behaved.
It won't matter. Well, anyways, we have to use very clever ways to get people in and out of the cove. So your size helps us make sure that we're able to sneak. Well, you'll see. And when would you like to leave?
Maybe you said in the next 2 days, day or 2, if possible.
Very well. That could be arranged. In fact, if you are willing to wait at least a couple more days, Alaric should be back, and you can converse with him directly and give you guidance. Or if you don't wish to wait, I can make the attempt myself and aid you in getting through the cove tomorrow, if you so choose.
I think our concern right now is we're waiting up on our goblin companion. So once his business is complete, then we can.
I hope he's okay.
We hope so too.
Very well. That will be 55 gold per person. Traveling fee of 25 gold. Return fee of 100 gold. Let's just call it 485 gold even for the round trip.
All right. Is there any way that we could receive a discount, so say a repeat customer, assuming that we will be continuing to use your services in the future?
Give me a persuasion check as you begin to negotiate yet again.
All right. 16.
16. Well, don't let word get out. If everyone was aware that we are willing to negotiate, we'd be destitute, for sure. Let's say 425 gold, and a promise of return to use our services again. Then,
I think that's fair.
very well. So that will be half now, and then half upon completion. So let's say 200 gold now and 225 gold upon your return trip.
All right, and then I'll explain to the other two in English, just numbers.
Well,
Gold.
Wintrude's a gnome, so.
Not a halfling.
Oh, that's right. You're halfling.
I don't know if they speak Gnomish.
Yeah, I don't speak Gnomish.
That's right.
So I'll just say 200 gold now. Total.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, we could all chip in and then get sort of the payment, like what would it be, the 25 gold from Alex, and if we can get it out of Gelmir at some point, that would be amazing.
So, yeah, I'll just give her. Oh, I guess I don't have her. I got 100 gold here,
Well,
and then
that's half.
Is it 55 gold per person then?
Well, I mean, it's been a negotiated total amount.
Okay.
So it's 200 gold now, and then when you come back on the return trip, you'll pay the balance of the 225.
Okay.
So Tyr just paid 100 of the 200.
So I'll hand 40 gold over to Tyr.
Okay. So 60 gold remaining. You're
Which
on
would be
mute,
my
Rahi, if
part.
you're talking. It's like, oh yeah, I'm on mute.
That makes sense. Okay. I'll give the remaining 60.
Remaining 40.
Oh,
okay. I'll give 100 for now. Then.
Okay. So 260 gold. So Tyr, you have an extra 60 gold from the group as you pay 200 gold to Alma. She accepts the gold and she pulls out a folded piece of parchment, hands it to Tyr. Come here in 2 days' time, the morning of the second day. And then we will escort you out to the cove. We will secretly place you in one of the tandems, which will then allow us to get you out and up into the city.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Oh, no, thank you. Much appreciated.
Assuming this works, 100 gold isn't actually that bad a price to pay for not being eaten alive by underground things.
Oh,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
we don't necessarily guarantee that, but we'll do our best.
Or a money back guarantee.
You know what? Money back guarantee for a corpse is always easy to accomplish.
All right, well, if I can revive the dead, so.
Gotta be alive to revive. Anyways, here's your appointment sheet. Just it'll be fine. Do not worry. Alaric is very good at what he does.
Can I, Rahi, Tyr, can I? There's sort of like a personal matter that I've been wanting to ask about down here too. Would it be okay if I spoke to you, Miss, a little bit apart for a second?
Oh, certainly. I'm more than willing to help. Of course. What over here, please? Well, here you two wander, look about, see if there's anything of interest that you might like. Yes, young halfling. Or halfling? Or I can't tell your age. I don't normally.
I do have a good skin regime. That I certainly would. Thank you. That's very kind of
I'm
you.
sure. What can I do for you?
I wanted to ask about the halfling hexblade. Bimble was speaking that maybe you or your father knew a little bit about Orlanth Witherby.
Oh,
And I know how it is to go around speaking her name or any such a notorious smuggler, but I again, if discretion actually is real here, between you and me and your father. I'm Wintrude Weatherby. I'm her younger sister.
Oh, fascinating. Reputation down here is well known. In fact, the item that you speak of popped up in existence for a bit here. And supposedly, she had acquired it in an auction. She then took both item and herself and continued to examine a very dark corner of the Undermountain, a particular tunnel that most avoid, as she seemed to be looking for access into the lower areas of the Undermountain. She was convinced she had found a way to go even deeper, even the ways that are... She looks around, sees both Rahi and Tyr kind of looking at items and objects, quite forbidden areas of the Undermountain. This is about as deep as anyone's ever gotten. There are tunnels and chambers where others foray and explore out into and are never heard from again. She was convinced that she had found the proper tunnel, and supposedly this blade was part of a puzzle to gain access into something that she felt was certainly the possible access to the beginnings of the chambers that, well, Blackcloak himself designed and built for his apprentices, and the beginnings of the access points that would get you eventually to his tomb, even.
So she's just recently undertaken this?
No, I believe this was maybe a few months ago.
And she hasn't been back through, or any rumors. See, that's the problem with her, is there's no way of telling if she's actually still down there, or worse, down it, or she came back through. She's just notorious for secrecy, disguising escapes and coming and going.
She seemed to have that air about her. My father referred to as a bit of an odd one, but very bright, very bright. Tyr and Rai, give me investigations as you're kind of looking around the shop at this point.
13.
13?
15.
15. For you, Tyr, hanging on like a wire, just hanging there off of a post, is a very nice looking lute. It seems to be made of a very rare kind of wood. The strings are immaculate. The quality of it is immaculate. There's pearlescent inlay underneath the where the string strands run up towards the top and into the opening. There are engravings on the backside. It's about the nicest lute you've ever seen.
Once there, can I inspect it?
Yeah, you kind of lift it off the wire and you strum it. You kind of look at it with a little bit more intent. Give me investigation as you study it with a little bit more caution.
18.
18. There is a person's name engraved on the back of the handle, and it is the lute of someone that goes by the name of Balmora. And Balmora the Bard is kind of written on the back of it. And it's got arcane writing on the back of it as well. This feels like this might be a magical lute.
Would I have any prior knowledge of Balmora? Would I have heard of her?
Give me a history check.
Ooh, that's a good roll. 22.
Balmora the Bard is said to be one of the more extravagantly educated of the College of Lore. Her background in performative writing, poem, and songwriting are quite legendary. It's rumored that she did it all on a handmade lute that she had commissioned by somebody who went by the name of Mordecai. And this lute seemed to have been something that was brought out of a region of antiquity in the Forgotten Realms. There's even rumors that it might have come from the Moonshae Isles, although some people feel that it might have come from the far north of an area near 10 Towns. And there's even some rumors that he retrieved it from the southern areas of the Sword Coast. But supposedly, it's possible that you're holding on to the lute that she has been using her entire life to write and create music.
All right. Is Wintrude still talking with the Alaric's daughter?
Yeah, currently busy.
Okay.
And you can see Rahi as she begins to examine a very busy work table, or a series of work tables. For you, Rahi, you come across a very unusual alchemy kit. It's larger than yours, and it seems to be like one of those rollout alchemy kits. It's a box that's medium in size, but when you open the lid, it spills out kind of like in this neatly organized like leather containment that spills out almost like a tablecloth sort of thing. You see all these neat like tools and like rubber hoses and little metal flasks and sample kits, and this feels like a kit that might be a step up of yours. And there's even a little booklet that's tucked into the interior of a pocket of one of the leather pockets of the rolled out kind of a mat that kind of rolled out of the box.
I look at it closely, inspect it, pack it back up, and hold it, basically just hold it to my chest, waiting for Wintrude to be done.
Okay, give me investigation.
All right. Oh, 18.
The manual that you kind of pull out of the pocket tells you that you have found Rockhand's alchemy kit. And Rockhand describes himself as a dwarf, and the manual is written as a dissertation or study field guide. And this feels like you've come across an advanced alchemy kit that has more powders, chemical formulations, lists of ingredients that mostly have to do with gathering ingredients in underground caverns, lairs, pits, crevasses, ravines, places that dwarves usually find themselves feeling quite at home at. And this feels like a very significant step up from your basic alchemy kit that you currently have.
Excellent.
And then the two of you
does
kind
the
of
name
go ahead.
Rockhand ring any bells?
Give me a history check.
Does the name Rockhand? Right.
Yeah, give me a history check. See if it
Lord,
see if it triggers your memory.
8. Probably
8?
not.
It doesn't really sound familiar, but the quality of the kit and the quality of his writing tells you he's probably someone who had mastered the craft. Once again, looking over at Tyr examining the loot and you examining this bag, chances are these things have found their way here through either theft, exchanges, barter, fencing. It's things arrive here, they become part of the economy, and then they just are here. You're not really sure how old. The field guide doesn't really talk to any dates or any regions of the Fey realm, but It feels advanced, at the very least. And the two of you can overhear Wintrude and Alma continuing their
Right.
conversation. So, yeah. I do have a book she was studying here, if you'd like to see it.
Oh, yes, please.
Oh, she kind of walks over. You hear her open like a box, and you can hear her rummaging around. She comes back carrying a very heavy kind of black leathered tome, and she sets it down. This was a book that was written by someone who went by the name of Darkmoor. A wizard of some power and notorious ability. He had made an equal attempt to discover a vault entrance some time ago, and my father and I were able to get this book of his. We've been using it as a main reference to guide people towards attempts at different tunnel entrances and vault entrances. If you'd like, you can study it and copy from it, and I can't let you take the original, unfortunately. My father wouldn't allow that, but I do have a desk over there if you'd like to take a moment to study it and see if you could find any information in it.
Oh, I very much like to make a few notes, thank you. And if you could keep it just as quiet as possible. I know the danger around her name, but also just everything just around her is. Let's just keep it mysterious until it's not. It's safer for all of us. You know.
Oh yeah, of course.
Thank you. Okay, I'll be. Tia Rahi, I just need to make a few notes here from this tome, if you don't mind.
I'd like to ask her about the loot. How long have you had this here?
That's Balmore's loot. My father exchanged both coin and gems as well as alchemy materials for it. We've had it here for maybe, I want to say about a year. No real takers. We don't really get a lot of bards down here. Most of the ones that come down here stay over in their own area and never really bother with the old markets. Are you interested in it?
Yeah, I'm pretty interested. Depending on what you're asking for. Obviously, you say you haven't been able to offload it, so
No, and I think my father is very eager to recover some of his investment. Although we do prefer barter and coin down here. Do you have anything that you would like to trade, perhaps?
I've got platinum ingots and about, I don't know. Would I have an idea? Sorry, I don't know what the crossover for gold to platinum is. Do we?
I mean, you know,
our
the
characters
platinum
know?
is more valuable than gold. And you had the elven smith turn it, or the dwarven smith turn it into ingots for purposes of trade, because it becomes a little bit more valuable as a resource. And since you're in a tinkerer's shop, you definitely get the feeling that the platinum ingots might be very intriguing to her and her father, because they could be used as componentry work or enchantment works that they're doing with infusions or other tinkering. So you get the feeling that those are probably have some distinct value in this barter.
All right. How about 5 platinum ingots, 5 gold ingots for the loot?
Oh, may I? And she watches you put the ingots out and looks at the size. This is excessive. How about this? 3 of the platinum and 3 of the gold ingots in exchange for the loot.
All right.
She takes them, and I know my father is very eager to work on projects. And she says, the loot is yours.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure.
And your friend seems to have a death grip on Rockhand's alchemy kit. I take it you're interested in procuring that as well, Tall One?
That would be appreciated. I do not have ingots. How much would you charge for this in coin?
I believe my father paid about 1,000 gold for it. So I think you would appreciate at least getting 1,500 gold for the kit.
I see. Let me check if I have anything I can trade alongside that
Always
to
eager to
soften the
barter
blow to
here.
my wallet.
Wintrude, as you can hear them negotiating with Alma in the background, go ahead and give me an investigation check as you begin to rifle through Darkmoor's book.
Okay. It's a 27.
27? Okay. So as you rifle through the book, there is hold on, let me pull this up because I didn't think you guys were going to be doing this tonight.
Players complicating the DM's plans. That's what we're here for.
So you find two things. You find a reference to something called the Shadow Gate, and you also find something with a reference called the Whispering Archway. Both of which Darkmoor's notes describe these as points of entry into the lower vaults. And most of his notes speak of something called the arcane tunnels, a very vast expanse of the ruined remains of arcane research and the practice of arcane arts. And he describes this level as a place that Blackcloak and his apprentices would spend a great deal of time either doing research of arcane spells, casting spells on creatures to serve for particular purpose or outcome, as well as the both failed and successful attempts of enchanting items for the purpose of being used. From Skullport on up, it feels like the Undermountain was designed as a egress in and out of the lower portions of the Undermountain. This is the first hint that you've come across of something beginning to take you deeper into the Undermountain, maybe more specific areas that were personally used by Blackcloak and his apprentices. And and he seems to constantly refer to it as the arcane arches. And these are the two entry points that he believes can get you down there, but he doesn't really show any outcome of gaining entrance. Most of his study is finding these two entry points and then not really being successful in getting access.
Okay. Notes.
But this has been most useful. Is there some way I could pay you for your services?
Oh, no.
Or some
friends,
assistance I could give to you?
Your friends have paid more than enough. Between these items and our services to get you and your friends up on the surface, more than enough trade for sure. And it will allow me to impress my father as well. He doesn't always necessarily trust me when he's away.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you about my father Barnabas sometime. That's you and I would have a lot in common, I think.
No, my father's quite terrifying, but sure, if that'll help you be more empathetic towards my cause, I would gladly understand. Anyways, Tall One, do you have anything for trade for the alchemy kit? I've lost Rahi. She's got that stare, that 1,000-yard stare.
The frozen stare.
Or the frozen camera stare. Yep, there he is. He's back. Yes, being in the basement is always fun on the tech, isn't it, Rahi?
I apologize.
So Alma looks at you. Well, Talwyn, is there anything you'd like to barter with?
Nothing that I'm willing to part with. Well, apart from this, I pull out the worm's tooth. I was planning to run some experiments on this, but I have a lot of reading material I need to catch up on. Do you think this was a tooth of a great worm? Do you think there's any value in something like this?
May I take a look at it, please?
I hand it over.
It's quite a large ivory tooth, and she sets it down, looks at it. I would be more than happy to trade for this. My father has been looking for these for some time. We don't get many people that survive the worm ones, at least an encounter with such creatures. So this is rare, extremely rare. Once again, an opportunity to impress my father. The alchemy, Rockhand's alchemy kit is yours for this trade.
Out of curiosity, how much would you be willing... would you have any use for a live specimen?
What do you mean?
We managed to get a hold of an egg.
No. Show me.
Unfortunately, we don't have it. We left it with our pet goblin, I'm afraid.
Oh.
But
I will
It's
tell
our
you this
pet
much.
goblin.
If you'd managed to recover the worm egg from the Warrens, that is quite valuable indeed. Bring it back. Allow me and my father to take a look at it. And yes, we may be willing to pay greatly for that.
I'm glad that our effort to extract that was not for nothing then, considering we nearly got eaten by these things.
Very
that came
few
out of
people
the other
survive the
rooms.
worm ones. Most people use other ways to get down here. You came the more difficult path. I'm assuming you came in through the Yawning Portal, yeah?
More or less, yes.
Perhaps our business arrangement will improve your odds coming in through the secret cove. I would recommend coming that route from this point on. The Yawning Portal's a bit of a gambler's death wish, as they like to call it. Normally, the
We
survivability coming
noticed.
through the portal is only about 50-50, so you and your friends have done well.
Well, it's going to be quite pleasurable to return there and watch them collect on their bets because nobody thought we'd stand a chance.
And how long has it been since you've entered that place, that establishment?
Oh, this will
A
be the
solid
eighth.
week.
Oh,
A week and a day.
Technically.
well, normally the gambling's void after 2 days. Most aren't expected to live that long. If you have any luck upon returning there and can get your wages and your earnings, by all means, try. Durnan is a bit of a sketchy individual, in my opinion. Always waging, always gambling. So with that, Rahi has Rockhand's alchemy kit. Tyr has Balmor's loot. Wintrude has gotten the notes of Darkmoor's book. So let's go ahead and take our break now. We'll come back in 5 minutes and do the second half.
Got it.
We are back. Poor Gelmir. I've been rolling for his character in the background, doing some stuff because, you know, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait till he comes back.
Something tells me that. Something tells me the more messed up it is, the happier
Gelmir's gonna
Zach will be.
Right?
Zach's kind of crazy like that.
Yeah, that's true. He definitely gets into character. He definitely gets into character. Oh my
Now,
goodness.
I wasn't sure, like, you know, towards the end of, you know, the priestess popping her head out, if I was supposed to maybe roll an insight check and just try to get a read for things and then react, but it's like...
I figured this was an established temple.
I mean, she seemed okay. Everything seemed fine. Gelmir's like, yeah, I'll be fine, guys. Don't worry about me.
You know, Gelmir would have been something like, you know, well, no, she promised me this ability to find all the gems, and I went to, no, don't talk me out of it now. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's all I keep thinking about is like, there's no talking about of the possibility of being able to find more riches.
I'm just worried about that worm hatching in his
portable
hole. Yeah, that would be a mess.
Oh my god, that's funny.
I'm sorry, Gelmir. The thing I insisted on taking along with me ate all of your stuff.
Right? So as the three of you wrap up your business with Alma, anything you want to do in the Tinkerer's shop or any last minute activities?
I don't think so.
Alma, I turned to Alma. Alongside this kit, do you have any alchemist supplies I can borrow? Buy, I guess.
Unfortunately, my father handles that over in the Poison Quill, but because he's not due back for at least 2 more days, I think, you could check in with him. I do not have access to his shop or his materials. I take care of the tinkerer's end of things when he's gone.
I see. Well, thank you for your time, and thank you for this.
Absolutely. A pleasure to meet the three of you. We look forward to seeing you in a couple days.
I look at here. I'm always a bit wary when my bosses are talking with others behind my back. It always makes me wonder if they're just going to offload us.
Tears just over there snack bagging it. What? You think Wintrude's gonna try to offload us? Is that what's going on?
Just entertaining on morbid.
Wintrude, would you like to be a part of an experiment?
In what way?
I want to see what this loot does.
Oh, well, yes.
All right. I'm going to hit you with just a very low level spell. And then I'll heal you right after.
Oh. Okay.
All right, I'm going to use Balmora's loot. I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery.
Okay.
Nothing too vicious, though.
Okay. As you
your breath
kind of strum the loot, and then you cast Vicious Mockery. What do you mock? What do you do? What do you say?
Oh, I just said your breath stinks.
Okay. What's the normal DC save for Vicious Mockery for you?
17.
17. The loot seems to enhance that by +1. So Wintrude, give me I believe it's a wisdom save of 18 or higher.
Holy. Yeah, 13.
13. You get a painful headache. Roll for damage, Tier.
5 damage.
Take 5 points of migraine damage. A little bit of a nosebleed as you get the feeling that loot had enhanced Tier's ability to cast a spell.
Interesting. All right. Now one more. I'm going to switch over. The loot I was previously carrying, we said it had some inscription of like some people dancing, and it had something to do with charms.
Okay.
For the purpose of charming, is it just, I guess, would just hypnotic pattern be the only thing that is charmed?
Possibly.
Or would something like suggestion count?
Sure.
All right, I'm just gonna cast suggestion.
Okay. What's the save for that?
Wisdom also with the other loot, with the charm loot, or what was described as having something to do with charming.
Okay. I would say you realize that whenever you perform with that loot, it always gives you advantages on your performance. It doesn't really do much of an enhancement to the spell effect that you're doing right now. Other than the fact that, Wintrude, as you hear Tyr play it and then invoke the suggestion spell, it gives you disadvantage on wisdom when you try to resist it.
Ooh.
Wait, what?
Okay, so there's disadvantage. Let me
Yeah.
roll here.
So right now, Tyr has like 2 loots that I think he's trying to figure out which one he wants to operate with and see what they do.
I rolled an 8.
An 8? What's your suggestion, Tyr?
Do a flip.
Give me acrobatics, Wintrude.
21.
21. Does this great freestanding backflip. Not sure why, Wintrude, but it sounded like a good idea to do that.
And then I'm just gonna cast Healing Word first level for
Okay.
Wintrude.
All right.
Oh, well, no, to keep in mind, I had the temp hit points still that you had given us
True.
previously.
Oh,
I haven't really-
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I haven't
All right.
lost anything off my.
So
actual-
Balmora's loot seems to enhance your spell attack modifier by +1, which increases the DCs for those that are affected by your spells. It also seems to enhance your performance ability. It also seems to be imbued with the ability for you to store a spell of 3rd level or less, as it can be used to store spells as well. A single 3rd level or less spell that can be stored and exercised from the loot directly. The loot does require attunement, however, to fulfill the full force of its magical effect.
All right.
Whereas the other loot did not require attunement, because all that did was allow you to have advantage on conditioned spells and gained you advantage on performance. So you kind of have like a performance loot now, and kind of like a loot that you would use for spell casting.
Okay. Perfect.
So with that, where are you guys heading to? The overflowing urn at this point?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
Unless we see anything
There we go.
interesting on the way.
Well, it is quite late. Most of the remaining places that would be open would be any of the gambling dens, the entertainment parlors, as well as probably the House of Pain, where the gladiatorial fights occur. Other than that, everything else seems to be closed down and currently not open.
You know, I think Alexander may be rubbing off on me, but I'm actually quite interested in what the House of Pain has in store. It is rather late, though, I suppose.
Well, I mean, is it ever too early or too late for a gambling operation where people beat the hell out of each other? I mean, I'm just saying, they don't seem to have set hours in that area.
That's fair enough.
I'm
Right.
not going with you, by the way. I'm just saying, like, don't I don't know. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about time. I'm going to head back and do a little bit of writing and then go to sleep.
There's always tomorrow. All right.
So you guys wander back out of the old markets, away from where the gnome work, the clockwork gnome and the poison quill were, back up towards the direction of the overflowing urn, coming inside to a very quiet interior. There's hardly anyone awake at this point. You find your way towards the corner stairwell and back up into your common space with all the rooms attached to it. Any last minute things you want to do before we all click off a long rest?
There's no trace of that old sneezy snotty goblin, right?
Give me investigation as you look around.
Because I'm kind of suspicious now. 21.
There are footprints that look to be moist with kind of like a powdery residue around them, like maybe somebody who's got flaky skin. You kind of follow it over to Alexander's door. And you can see that the door is slightly ajar, and you can see mucus and handprints from maybe where the goblin looked in on Alexander, then quickly kind of left just to make sure that he was okay, maybe. And there are equal footprints and markings leading to the other rooms as well. Feels like that while you were gone, he checked up on the room.
Yeah, as long as we can lock the doors, and I don't want this old bugger coming and looking at me while I sleep.
Yeah, you silently kind of close Alexander's door as all of you disperse to your different rooms. So with that, go ahead, right?
I drag, I locate a heavy piece of furniture.
The heaviest piece of furniture you guys is your foot locker that's in the room.
All right, I'm not going to use my foot locker. I carry my foot locker and place it on top of the trapdoor and give Winchard a nod.
Maybe not a bad idea. Maybe not.
Rude.
And with that, you guys settle in for the night, and go ahead and click off long rest as you wake up the morning of day 9.
During the night, I make sure to do my blood work, but I also start preparing some medicine for gout.
Give me with which alchemy kit are you using?
The new one.
The new one. Give me an intelligence check for starters.
All right. Straight intelligence. Damn it. 6.
6. You've never worked with any kind of alchemically related to this type of disease. So you begin to kind of try to read up on and understand the notes that Rockhand has in his disease recovery section of his field guide. Now give me a excuse me. Now give me a wisdom check as you try to read what you can and organize it into an application that you're trying to make.
Wisdom or medicine?
Wisdom.
All right. You okay?
I'm having an allergy attack. It's ongoing forever for me.
0.
Now you can give me medicine with disadvantage.
All right.
See what you make out of all this chemistry supply.
9.
9. You managed to make a very strange, kind of off-putting liquid. It smells very pungent. Smells like rot. It is... Wait a minute. I want drinks and snacks. This is so unfair. You do this all the time. Unfortunately, it's a failed experiment. Didn't quite turn... The field guide notes describe it as something that is sweet to smell and kind of has a blue yellowish kind of liquid outcome. As you were trying to attempt to cure disease, And what you got was something else that does not match the outcome, unfortunately.
Poison.
I'm just going to put this into my use syringes the next time I throw them at someone, I think.
Okay.
Watch it be like full heal.
So the four of you gather in the common area of your room. Alexander actually looks a lot better, not nearly as worse for wear. No sign of Gelmir yet at this point. We're on day 9, being down in the Undermountain. What would you guys like to do? It's the equivalent of the morning of day 9.
Hey, gang, we might want to check in on Gelmir and see what's happening over at the Shadow Temple. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure he'll be fine for another 2 weeks.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
he's totally fine.
he could be difficult. I would be the first to definitely admit that, but he is a part of the party. I'm gonna tell you guys, I can't go there alone. I feel kind of creeped out by it. I wouldn't be comfortable going there just by myself. Are you sure? Like nobody would come with me?
I'll go with you. I know it's just a curse, but they are de-aging someone, so I would be willing to see what I could learn from that.
Well, let's go get some breakfast downstairs and then maybe head over there if you're okay with that.
All right. Do you want me to move the locker?
No.
Hey! Hey! You can hear like the goblin like rattling against the door. Oh, I'm supposed to be delivering your bread. Hey!
Okay. I'll go and I'll pull the footlocker off the door. He'll save us some time.
That was just. Oh, you're all awake. Very good. Kind of pulls himself up and reaches down to grab the tray and sets the tray on the table and well, enjoy. Kind of looking around at the four of you with kind of like a weird look, and then crawls back into the trapdoor, and you can hear his feet and his mumbling as he descends back down.
I know this is going to be weird for a halfling to say, but like, would it hurt him to wear some shoes? I just don't get it. Why is he going around barefoot all the time? Anyways, I don't want to think about his rotten feet as I try to eat this. Okay.
I slide the locker
Put it like right over it.
Yeah, Alex, I don't want to creep you out, but he had come in to check on you while we were taking care of a few things last night.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I hope he didn't get any like snot or foot skin flakes on you. Ugh.
Well, I mean, I feel fine.
Yeah, but bon appetit with the breakfast.
It's just like eggs, cheese, bacon, and bread.
I go and eat it with no reservation. You know, just
Tastes
go
pretty
right
good.
in there.
Yeah. You guys fill up on breakfast. You have the day. What do you guys want to do?
What? I'm still blanking from that time. What exactly is the House of Pain, as far as you know?
I thought it was an inn, and I've later found out it's an arena where people fight for sport. And I was thinking maybe you and me could go in there, shuffle a couple feathers around, and maybe we'll find out some information. It's a win-win.
That sounds exhilarating. Is anyone else interested? Well, actually, are we checking on Gelmir first, or
We could.
I mean, we should check on Gelmir for it's the responsible thing to do.
I mean, didn't they
Alright.
say to come back like 2 days?
No, they didn't. They said might take some hours or maybe till the next morning. Again, it's kind of like when you get your laundry done and they never get it on time. It's really that sort of
So it's not going to be on time. So we could stop at the House of Pain first.
Well, I mean, just like an update on him,
Well, I mean, what if the hours of operation of this House of Pain are, and and then like we get there and they're like, we're not open till later, and then we're like, okay, cool, we have time to burn. Like, I just don't want to at least we should just stop by. I mean,
I don't understand how long it could take just to check by the temple on Gelmir, and then you can go.
I'm not going to convince you, am I?
It's a thing of checking in on our he's our friend, right? We checking in on our friend before we do anything else. That's what a friend would do.
Yeah, no, I mean you make some valid points. It's
What?
it's hard to say what's the best thing to do. I mean, fate, destiny. Where are we at? I mean, I think if we
All
go
right.
over there,
It's exhausting.
I take out a copper piece. I lay it on the table.
So, heads, we go check on Gelmir. Tails, we do the House of Pain first.
I got one better. We take out and I pull out my gambling dice set, and I'm like, what if we just roll this die 20 I have? Whoever wins.
Okay. You're saying I roll against your roll.
Yeah.
Well, roll away.
Whew. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Dear Riley, like,
The table, it's tilted. It's 10, right in the middle. It's
16.
actually perfect. It's no.
I just start. I get up and I start walking towards the temple.
He's,
you guys
No,
are
it's
still up
fair.
in the room.
Alex,
Definitely.
Okay, I start going down the stairs then.
Okay, you guys
All right,
watch
well,
Riley
let's
opens
lock
the
up.
door and just starts plodding down the stairs into the overflowing urn.
I run to catch up with her.
Okay.
I
All
feel
right,
like
I'm going with them. Let's go to the
Okay.
temple.
that
I'm gonna
was
meet up with
probably
the,
the most efficient way we've
hobgoblin
decided
guy
on
first.
anything.
Okay.
I'm trying to
get
make
the
things more
information on
efficient.
the performance. tonight.
So as the four of you descend down into the overflowing urn, it is busy with the morning crowd. You watch as Tyr walks over to where the hobgoblin is. How did you and your friend sleep last night? Everything okay? I hope the goblin wasn't. His name is Bramford. I hope he wasn't too bothersome. I tried to tell him to minimize his presence there. That really wasn't all that much needed. He is an odd fellow, but anyways.
He was fine.
So this evening, in the gold room, I have about a dozen individuals that will be enjoying a meal and a conversation around their business. Say early evening, and your performance will be required for that, if that is acceptable.
Quick question about that. If he ends up having bruises or black eye or cuts, will that affect this whole?
Well, I would
deal?
imagine it would affect your job. You're his bodyguard.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because he might come back with a couple cuts, scrapes.
Oh,
Not-
you mean
not-
coming? Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, is beauty
you're
a
thinking
part
of
the
going to the
performance?
House of Pain, are you?
Oh, I never said such a thing.
Well, you said he might come back with bruises and cuts. So either you're anticipating a mugging, or you anticipate getting into a fight.
Okay, yeah, no, you make a good point. Yeah,
I rolled a natural 20 for his insight. Look, it's your business what you do. As long as it does not impede your ability to perform music, do what you will. Do what you will.
All right.
I guard
Well,
his
we'll see you
fingers
tonight.
like I guard my
Okay.
life. Trust me, sir.
I'd imagine in a movie this would be like where we'd cut to like 8 hours later, and the guy has like my hand on a table with like a hammer.
No.
All right, we'll see you tonight. Have a good day.
Ah, yes. By the way, if you need me, my name is Drogoth.
Thank you.
Drogoth, thank you. How's the knee feeling? How's the legs?
Much better. Much. I had a very restful night.
That's good to hear. So did we. And we're looking forward to this beautiful day in this beautiful town.
Beautiful day.
I've never really heard anyone describe it that way, but
It is her.
I start walking towards the temple. No time to waste.
Ooh. Little bit of hustle in your step there, Alex. See?
you guys kill me. I've spent half my time laughing when I should be preparing.
All right.
Oh my god.
So we start walking towards the temple, I assume. And hopefully we don't run into any sort of encounters on the way as I try to ignore any distractions heading over there.
Well, you certainly can try. Whether or not you do or not, I mean, you know, I leave up to the random number generators. But you guys you kind of follow your trail back into that abandoned temple district. Because it's morning down here in Skullport, it's a little bit more busier, a little bit more of people kind of doing their trades and doing what they do, a little bit more activity. You guys had arrived like early evening-ish, kind of on day 8. So the crowd had already kind of dispersed into different areas. As you arrive at the Shadow Temple, you could hear like what might be the morning chant going on the interior. You could hear the kind of religious background that you would hear in most of these kind of places. As you kind of step up the stairs and into the entryway of the temple, you hear a familiar voice. Oh, you're back. Well, we're happy to report a great deal of success. The curse had been lifted, and your friend Gelmir is currently resting. I think that you could retrieve him, and maybe by this afternoon, if you'd like. He's currently, he's got to take a period of rest before he's able to walk about again. But he's fine. He's very fine now. How are you? How are you? How are you?
That you didn't switch him out with a new goblin.
Is that possible? I didn't think that was a probable. I mean, is that your way of saying that they all look alike?
Can I basically sort of review their body language and like the way he's describing it to determine if there's something?
Give me an insight check, sure.
We
20.
We'd appreciate looking in on him if you don't mind, priestess.
She kind of nervously looks at Alexander, who's like kind of eyeing her up and down, and she definitely looks a little nervous, but she quickly kind of recovers and goes, well, yes, please come with me. And she leads you back towards where that door was, but instead of taking you through the door, she leads you into a corridor and up a flight of stone stairs to what looks to be like a recovering area, like a hospice almost, where there's about a dozen beds here. There's a couple other people here that are recovering from either wounds, injuries, or illness. But there's Gelmir, and she guides you over to a little corner of the hospice, and he's currently sound asleep. He's about 8 or 9 years younger. He's kind of back to the way he looked, but he looks oddly better. Like, he seems beyond recovered. Like, he seems very much amplified in his youth.
This can't be. Our goblin was way uglier than that.
Well, we took the curse off of him, and This is the way he looks now.
Is it possible there were multiple curses? Maybe like a beautification curse, something that made him like really repulsive.
I don't know. I think he's still quite ugly. I mean, was he uglier than this then?
Yes, for sure.
Oh, I mean, you could always ask him when he wakes up. We only noticed and relieved him of the initial curse that he had. As the four of you stand there and she's kind of going on about this, who's got the highest passive perception? I think it's Tyr.
Tyr.
Tyr and
Yeah.
I have the
Winters,
same
21.
passive perception. Yeah, we
Okay,
both
so
have 21.
Okay. So as this weird back and forth is going on, the two of you can't help notice that there's two new tattoos on Gelmir's arms. And they're on the inside of his forearms because he's asleep with his arms kind of halfway out from underneath the blanket. And you can see that the tattoo on his right arm is like a strange flame-like symbol. And then the tattoo on his left forearm seems to be almost like a strange skull-like tattoo. You're not really sure if they were there before. Maybe they weren't, but you don't remember seeing them before. And they look like fresh markings.
Gilmer's a devil worshiper now.
Alex.
I'm sorry. What did you say? Is he a devil?
Yes.
Don't-
Wintrude, can we go to the House of Pain?
Wait, hang on, come here. Shh. Look at his forearms. Did he have those tattoos before?
No.
Well, priestess, if I could inquire, why the tattoos?
Oh, that was part of the ceremony to remove the curse.
See, it's just part of a standard procedure.
Can I roll an insight check?
Yeah. You can either roll insight or arcana. Your choice.
So I think as far as features and traits are concerned, it's I'd be rolling under, what the hell is it again? Sorry. This is something I don't use very often. It's God, there's
Is this so? I guess as a warlock, would these tattoos be similar to like that of like a warlock's pack? Like not the same as obviously like a warlock's pack, but like a pack.
You can give me an
tattoo.
arcana check to see if you
Okay.
can, if it triggers any memory.
The
I love
entire
the
party
15.
becomes warlocks.
I love rolling
15.
ones so I can roll them again.
What'd you get, Alex?
15.
15. What'd you get, Wintrude?
Filthy 20.
Filthy 20.
Of course you did.
Between the two of you, Alexander, you recognize that these might be runes used for the purposes of possibly either expunging something or bringing something in. Wintrude, you kind of recognize them as summoning symbols. So not quite warlocky, but definitely hard to believe that you're not entirely sure that she's telling the truth, but you're not entirely sure she's lying either. It's that feeling of it's feasible that these could have been part of the cure, remove curse. Maybe she summoned something in to help remove it. Maybe not, but there's some inconsistencies in her story.
I asked her, hey, sorry to bother you, but
Oh no, it's okay. You are bothering me, but go ahead.
you wouldn't be happy to have an additional agenda on top of what we're doing now.
Agenda? What do you mean? I keep no agendas. My days are usually orchestrated around healing and taking care of those that need it. Giving.
Well, given the fact that you probably don't have a lot of people coming around just offering somebody up for you to do tests on, so to speak, rituals.
Tests.
Rituals, I think, is probably more
Well,
accurate.
all of our spells require ritualistic components.
Right. But you probably don't have a lot of people that just sort of come around willy-nilly and willingly accept whatever sort of ritual you're willing to do on them, because there's that level of
Oh, I don't know. I
acceptance.
think the drunk ones late at night are by far the best ones.
What else is going on here? And
What
I
do
kind
you
of say
mean? I
it
don't understand.
as I get like in her face, like trying to almost like intimidate her. Is
Hey, give me
there
intimidation. See if she responds to it.
14?
14. I'm not quite sure what you're getting at. We provide services. We've removed your friend's curse, and he is recovering. When he's recovered, you're free to retrieve him and ask him all the questions you want. He was quite aware of the ceremony the entire time.
Did he
Kind
pee
of-
himself at all?
Yes, as a matter of fact, he did.
Okay.
Are there any side effects?
Well, that's why he's recovering. Normally, exhaustion is a side effect of removing a curse.
You know what I'm talking about. As I cut her off.
What do you mean?
Side effects, things that could occur that are outside of normal behavior.
Well, he is a
Hallucinations.
goblin. I mean, that's a very loosely worded statement. He did have some interesting things to say during the ceremony. Something about serving the great immortal one known as Alexander. And that someone by the name of Alexander is his patron saint of... I don't know. It seems strange to me, but...
That's fair.
if we
side
find-
effects wise, he should be fine. He should be recovered from his exhaustion, and there should be no sign of any kind of discomfort or lack of conformity to his former self.
He does have this way of idolizing you, Alex. I do have to say. I mean, well, that kind of sounds normal.
Oh, so you're the Alexander that he was referring to.
You know, in that case, it sounds like everything's fine. I think we're ready to go, guys. No further things needed. It sounds like everything is...
The fourth wall is left intact.
She really knew how to stroke my ego with that one. Side effects of worship me. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's good.
Priestess, so when might we come back to get him back to our rooms?
Come back perhaps later this afternoon or early
Okay.
evening. I'm sure he'll be fully recovered.
Okay, then.
Priestess, quick question.
Yes.
Completely unrelated. We're about to go head over to the House of Pain.
Oh,
sort of,
we enjoy their clientele quite often. Broken
Yeah.
bones, split skulls, grievous of wounds. We get to practice on them quite often.
Yeah.
Are you planning on participating in the events then?
Voluntarily, yes.
Oh, well, I would imagine it's always voluntarily, isn't it? I've never heard of it otherwise.
Oh no, they tried to trick me into doing it involuntarily. Now I
They?
want to go
Who's-
and do it voluntarily.
Oh, is there a they in this?
Yeah, the guards with the crest.
Oh, the Skull Watch. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are interesting, to say the least. Interesting.
Any tips or anybody that you think I should go and see while I'm over there?
I have never personally gone there myself. We've only ever treated those that managed to survive. Other than that, I would say just, well, if I told you to be careful, I'd have nothing to work on. So just do your best.
Worth a try. Guys, it sounds like we're pretty good here. You guys willing to go? Or
Yeah, let's go.
Witcher, you seem a little
Goblin looks
concerned.
good.
I'm sorry?
You seem a little concerned about Gelmir. He looks fine.
No. Well, everything. Let's just go.
I turn to the priestess. One minor thing. You've done such a good job de-aging our goblin.
Yes.
I know his circumstances were irregular given the curse, but could you de-age someone who is not suffering under a curse?
Oh, I've never practiced any magics like that before. Normally, since it was the curse that aged him, by removing the curse, it brought him back to his former self. I'm not really sure why he's bright and shiny to the four of you. But it's not a specific spell that de-ages you that I'm aware of. It's more about if you're cursed or you come across something that causes you to age unnaturally through spells. Greater restoration and removing curses are the main spells we use to kind of recover people from said conditions. There
I see.
are creatures out there that are said to aid you if you encounter them. It's a side effect of special powers they might have.
That's what I suspected. Thank you for your time.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, yes, come and collect him later on today. I'm sure he'll be perfectly fine.
All right.
Well, we don't want to hold up Alex any longer, that's for sure.
You know,
Thank you for indulging my query. Waiting for me to indulge my query, I say to Alex. Willingly or unwillingly.
As the four of you exit the temple, you pull out the map. There is no sign of a reference of the House of Pain on the map. This was information that you gleaned from the interior of the Worm's Gullet. And scanning the map and looking, there's no reference, no key mark, no nothing that states an obvious location of where.
Didn't the guard tell me, though? He told me where to go. And
He
who to
told you
ask.
that it was located near something called Dead Man's Corner. And that would be in the area called the Lower Dredge. It's an area you guys haven't visited yet. As you look at the map, sure enough, there's Dead Man's Corner, and it's further south of where the Poison Quill and the Clockwork Gnome was located at. It's down near the actual area where the cove, the water, and some of the docks and piers are located.
Well, that's... Yeah, it's also by the markets, right?
It's below the markets.
Okay. Oh, because it's underground. I'm further under. Okay, yeah. Let's head there.
Give me your survival check as you begin to head towards the dredge, trying to see if you can figure out where the House of Pain is.
Oh my god, it's just a little tippy top. 7?
7. No luck yet. You guys have been scouring the area that you think it's in, but have yet to find it. You're now closer towards the docks and the piers. You can see where small ships are anchored here or at the piers. You can see things being offloaded and onloaded. The crowd down here is a bit rougher. Lots of kind of folks that look to exist in a very kind of like rough environment. Some very kind of typical looking pirates. You can even hear a handful of them talking and laughing in a group near one of the piers. There's some people that look like all they're here to do is be labor for the day in the process of like unloading and unloading the ships that are docked on the piers. But so far, no luck finding the House of Pain.
Are we in the lower parts, like where...
You're in the dredge as far as you can tell. That much you can tell.
Okay.
And you're below the market, and you're down what seems to be near something called the Tower of Seven Woes, which is kind of like the fortress citadel that's like at the heart of Skullport. This is where the Skull Watch and those in charge kind of exist.
I look for the biggest looking guy that I could find.
Give me a perception check as you begin to scan the nearby crowd.
13.
Okay. Looking around, sitting amongst some crates is a very large kind of Goliath-looking individual. All he really has on is very like simple leather pants. There's a great two-handed hammer that's leaning up against a crate nearby. He seems to be eating off of a wooden platter and just kind of staring off into the cove. Quite large in size, very kind of muscular looking, heavily scarred, heavily tattooed.
I walk over to him.
Okay.
And
you guys watch as Alexander heads over towards the Goliath, who seems to be taking a bit of a break. What are the rest of you doing?
I shamble up behind him.
Okay.
Kind of. Basically, acting as a shadow.
Okay, fair. Tyr, Wintrude.
I go ahead and I put my hood on, and I just try to hide behind some crates.
Okay, give me a stealth check, just as a base number to work with.
21.
21. Okay, Tyr, anything you want to do while you're watching Alexander and Rahi approach the Goliath?
Quick question: would anyone on these docks look like they were at the Worm's Gullet the previous
Give
night?
me your perception check as you glance around and look at the crowd.
Ooh, that is a 28.
Nice.
There is a group of dock workers that look injured, bruised eyes, bruised jaws, but they're also laughing at the same time. You can overhear them talking about a really fun time they had the previous day.
Okay, I'm just gonna stand, just leaning up against a wall or just watching, just chilling.
Okay, Alexander and Rahi, you begin to approach this Goliath. Goliath notices your approach, kind of nervously looks at Rahi, then looks at, kind of puts his plate of food down. Is there something I can help you with?
Yeah.
He's got his hand kind of on the huge handle of the two-handed hammer, just looking at the two of you suspiciously.
I kind of have a bone to pick with
me? What did I do to you?
Not with you.
Oh,
But I'm hoping that you could help lead me in the right direction.
I don't know me numbers or me directions all that well, but I'll give it a try.
Looking for the House of Pain.
Oh, fighter, are you?
Somewhat.
Well, unfortunately, you can't get in without a sponsor. Do you have a sponsor?
I do.
Give me a deception check with advantage, because this guy's an idiot.
Well, I was going to say Dreen, right? I was going to just say the same person that recommended me in the first place.
If you say that outright,
No. 11.
11. Well, I suppose I could help you with that. I mean, normally your sponsor should be able to give you the information you'll need. It's a secret underground fighting pit. You get there through the old sewers behind the markets. There's a statue of I think it's a statue of a dragon or something. I don't know me pictures all that well either. You'll find a little fella there. And well, sometimes it's a girl as well. Anyways, you'll find someone lingering nearby the statue. You go to them, and the password you give them, well, let me think. Doesn't change that often anymore. Oh, you tell them it's the skull's tooth. And in return, they're supposed to say, it's the skull's eye. That way they know who you are, and then they let you down into the secret area to make your way down into the fighter pits. I think. That's usually what I do when I go there. Although usually my sponsor kind of handles that, not necessarily me. I mean, you know. You have coin,
Okay.
do you?
You want coin?
Well, not me, unless you want to give it to me. I mean, that's fine. That'd be the easiest coin I've made all day. No. Your sponsor's supposed to enter you into the tournaments, I believe they call them, and they pay the coin for your entry, and then you're put into what they call a system or competitive bracket. I don't know. I don't really.
Well,
I'm no
can
good with
I
words.
give you coin to lead me to this door, this statue?
Sure, I can lead you there. How much coin you got?
10 gold.
Absolutely. His big old beefy hand comes out. I'll take it. I'll lead you and your friends there right now.
Okay.
He like takes the 10 gold.
I
He stands
look at
up to
Rahi.
his-
I'm like,
he like stands up to his full height. He's roughly Rahi's height, but he's huge shoulders, big arms. He's not wearing anything above the torso, so you can see all the battle scars that he has on his body. But where the scars are, he's had tattoos kind of integrated with the scars. And he puts the huge hammer across his shoulder
I don't
and
know
just
what
says,
we're doing
"Oh, come with me," and starts kind of like leading you guys up back towards the market.
I kind of look at the crate where I saw Wintrude last and just kind of give it a slam on it once, and then fall over.
So I take a Tyr and Wintrude, you're going to follow the two of them with the Goliath?
Yeah.
As I'm like doing this, I'm like, are you guys willing to like go in this thing with me, or am I just kind of, you guys are just following my lead on this? I mean, Wintrude, you've always said where there's risk, there's reward. I mean, I'm just trying to sort of gauge. Seems really fun. I'm kind of pissed that they wanted to send me here, and it wasn't my choice. Now it is my choice. It's one of those,
I want to ask the Colossus how the fights are, like rules.
Oh,
weapons.
where did you come from? That was just the two of you. Is there more of you?
We're everywhere.
Oh, well, you're certainly very pretty. I'm sorry, what was your question?
That's what the the rules and regulations of the fights are.
Oh,
Are you allowed
well,
weapons?
there
Are
are
they
some
provided
rules.
to you? You bring your own.
Yeah. So you could either use weapons that are there. If you use their weapons, they usually up the stakes of your battle or your fight that you're in. Normally, it's unarmed. It's just unarmed combat between two individuals who crawl into the pits. We make fun of each other, call each other names to get all kind of ramped up, and then we fight it out. Some of the pits they use weapons. There's even spell pits as well. Well, people that are super smart who know how to cast them funny little words in the air and turn them into magic. They fight too sometimes. It's quite a big place. Lots of drinking and gambling, and he leans down. Lots of things to take your mind off your troubles, if you get my meaning, and leans away and just kind of continues leading you guys deeper towards the market. As far as rules, I mean, that's about all the rules I can remember. There might be more, but I don't really pay attention to rules. I just like to fight.
All right, thank you.
Do they ever do like 2 versus 2s? Duos, more than one.
Duos. Oh, groups. The group fights.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do the group fights. Those tend to earn the most coin for those that gamble. I've never fought in a group fight before.
Interesting.
The three of you thinking of fighting? Because your friend here is far too pretty to get into a fight, I think.
Oh, no,
I do have
good at
another
fighting.
question. When if someone verbally gives up, is that the end of the bout?
Oh, no, none of that. That will ruin your reputation for sure. Better to, well, sometimes if you go unconscious, they stop the fight. Sometimes they're so fucking drunk they forget to, and it's just a very messy puddle of meat and skin and bone that gets dragged off the feet. It just really depends on which circle you're in.
Oh,
Thank you.
What the hell was that? I heard a gnome or a halfling or something. But anyway, are there more of you in the shadows? You're not going to rob me, are you? Because that would be very bad.
Why would we have given you gold if we were going to rob you?
Oh, I don't know. I think that would be a very clever ambush. Give me money, I take you into an alley, and then you have your way with me.
Oh,
Happened
nothing's
before.
gonna happen to you as long as you lead us in the right direction.
Oh, well, in that case, let's keep going. I mean, this guy's an idiot. He's just, the amount of head trauma he's probably suffered, like halfway into the old market, and he takes you back into the alleys of like the heavily congested, overstacked, overbuilt, kind of slummy area behind the market. And eventually you come out of an alley into like a small open area where it's like a hub where other alleys kind of spoke off in different directions. And in the very center of the hub is this big statue of a dragon in like an old fountain. And sitting up on the shoulder of the statue is this small pixie-like creature. And it flutters down and it sees the Goliath and goes, hey, Brim, what are you doing down here? And goes, it's a pixie this time. Sorry. Well, I got some new friends here that want to get down into the House of Pain. Oh. And the pixie kind of floats over to Alexander and Tyr and Rahi and Wintrude and kind of, do they have sponsors? Yeah, the big tiefling fella there says that they have one. Oh, it's unusual that they're not here with their sponsor. Yeah, I know. They just wanted me to show them where the dragon statue was and who was guarding the door today. Oh, well, that would be me, Pinzel. I'm on duty for a while. He kind of beats playing with that silly bard over at the Gullet. Anyways, sure, come back. Say, I don't know. I think usually they start in the early evening. It's still very early in the day. The house opens up in about 6 hours. You can bring your sponsor, go down below, pay the entry fee, get up on the chalkboard, and you can have your time of it. Who is your sponsor, by the way?
Do you know of Rictavio?
Rictavio. No, never heard of him.
He's new in town.
Who's new in town? I would imagine you're new in town. Is your name Rictavio?
No, I was told to ask for Rictavio.
Not a name I'm familiar with.
Interesting. I feel like we might have gotten the wrong information, but we would still like to participate in the fights.
Well, I mean, they do. I might just want to watch.
Oh, well, we have all accommodations for those that participate or watch. So, absolutely. It's kind of like flying around the statue and kind of settles back on the statue again. So, the four of you?
We might bring another.
I can't make it tonight.
Oh.
Tyr.
I gotta perform.
Well, he's performing.
Oh my god, I would love to see his performance. I mean, you could be a little bit late though, Tyr.
I'm all about professionalism.
Goliath is just like watching the four of you. He's like intrigued by this in-depth conversation.
Rahi, will you participate with me?
Certainly. I'm very curious what kind of creatures they have. Well, let's just say I'm curious.
The two of us, then.
Very well. Maybe Gelmir, with his new physiology, would be interested in joining as well.
2, maybe 3.
Well, very well. I will make a note of it. I will be here this evening. The access will be granted to those that pay the fee. And come back in a few hours, let's say.
Well, what's your name again?
Pinzel.
Oh, Pinzel. That's great. What's the fee?
It's usually 25 gold to get in per person.
All right, sounds fantastic.
Thank you so much. Go down below to the door person that watches the main entrance.
How do you make money, Pinzel?
Oh, I've already, I merely get to live.
Pinzel, that's not fair.
You ever fought before?
In
any of the bouts?
I don't really fight. Not my thing. Yeah, that's not really what I do. I'm a person of charm and I'm more of a lover than a fighter.
Pinzel,
The
who
two
claims
are mutually
ownership of you?
exclusive.
Who claims ownership of me?
Yeah.
I mean, ownership is a loosely guarded term. You mean who am I forced to work for?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that would be a different way of perspective. There's a bard that works over at the Worm Gullet, and me and my friends perform with him.
But who forces you to run these pits?
I
The
don't run the
entrance.
pit. The entrance. Yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't hurt to mention his name. Forsyth runs. Forsyth is in charge of everything down below. You'll see him when he introduces the fights for the evening tonight. He is. He's an interesting fella.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Do you want some gold too, Pinzel?
Oh, I've got no use for coin. I'm fine.
All right. That's fair. And I look at the Goliath and I toss him 10 gold.
Oh, okay. It's raining coins. That's fucking weird. Puts it in his belt pouch on his belt. Well, I showed you the place. You didn't have your way with me. It's very disappointing. Maybe next time. And he kind of has his hammer over his shoulder and just kind of randomly walks out of the circular hub and into a random alleyway.
I asked Pinzel really quick, what are these different pathways? Where do they go to?
They're alleys. I imagine they go to streets and buildings.
Okay. That's good. Fair. Gosh, I feel like a freaking idiot. All right.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. I just assumed you knew what a street and an alley was because you just came out of an alley.
Jesus.
You're making me feel like more of an
I didn't mean to make you. Okay. Now that I think about it, I can see your point, your perspective. These alleys go up towards the upper threads. These ones goes down towards the dredge, and those take you over to the Ventnus, more the midsection of Skullport. Would that be more accurate as to what you were looking for?
That's exactly what I was. Yeah.
Very well. I'm glad I'm here to help. And
I just get lost down here, and I need to know the quickest path to different areas. It's confusing. And I jot down what he said.
Okay. You kind of put it on the map so you have a little bit more clarity and understanding.
What do you guys want to do?
I'm always happy to watch these things, so I can be patient in the interim. I'm certainly not going to be fighting anybody.
Tyr, you don't have to perform for 5 hours, Tyr.
It's at the same time. Maybe I'll catch up when I'm done. But to kill time, why don't we check out the markets?
Yeah, and I just gotta say, Alex, I'm not trying to but as his manager, I'd certainly advise him not to do anything that involves him possibly, besides breaking his face, breaking his hands, he wouldn't be able to play any longer. I mean, you can't fret anything with broken hands.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Speaking of managing, are we still with the Pixie?
No, you guys have kind of picked an alleyway and you've wandered off.
All right.
You just hear her go, well, goodbye, see you this evening. And she kind of flitters around and settles behind the head of the dragon statues. You guys kind of continue your conversation into an alleyway.
Bimble did say, though, that the marketplace was well worth checking out.
Yeah, he did. He did say that. I'm kind of interested in a free the slave sort of scenario. I'm just
like a Spartacus sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So go to the Worm's Gullet and beat the crap out of a bard. Make him give up control over his Fey thralls.
I don't think that's the guy that controls him. I think the guy that controls him is in the pits, and the bard is just a second thing that he's doing. That's why I asked him the second question, and he gave the name. Forsyth, and he said Forsyth kind of runs the pith, and so I'm thinking Forsyth is like his like mob boss, so to speak, and he's just like a slave that's forced to work for them in a sense. And I'm just kind of wondering how deep that rabbit hole goes.
Yeah, I don't know how motivated I am to try to change the world in that sense, but I mean, it's, Skullport, it's
Civil rights side quest.
I just hate bullies, Wintrude. Okay, I hate bullies. It's there's a lot of that, and sometimes people need to be taken off their pedestal.
I mean, so you're trying to infiltrate the House of Pain? I thought you just were angry and wanted to punch somebody in the face for money.
It always seems like that, doesn't it?
I'm not assuming. I'm just trying to put two and two together based on what you're telling me is all.
I have theories and thoughts.
I may not have a lot of book learning, but I got theories and thoughts.
I've got convictions, young lady.
I just feel like I feel like I was conned, right? And how many other people were conned. And you look at these people out here, and a lot of them are suffering. And I just feel like I don't like getting taken advantage of. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are getting taken advantage of. And if I get to punch some skulls in while doing it, sounds like a win-win.
I mean, but Alex, like, you can't just walk into Skullport and like that bar and just start dropping precious gems in front of certain types. I mean, you can't. You can't bang your head into the brick wall and then get mad at the brick wall. It's sort of, kind of, you see what I'm saying here? You kind of set yourself up, though. You got to be savvy about these things.
Oh, it's true. And you're the savvy one, huh?
Well,
what is Alex's highest level of education in this?
You see his CV, I guess, and pass it out to you.
Education takes many forms.
Yeah, Alex was very homeschooled, so he doesn't have like a lot of formal education. But then he did, bump glasses, so to speak, with some higher socialites when, and as he tried to infiltrate like Winterfell and other areas, and he kind of has an understanding of how like higher society works, but he wasn't like born into that higher society.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you. I don't know how familiar you are with Waterdeep, in depth in certain circles, but my parents run diminutive detectives. I was brought up by investigators, and we're halflings. You got to keep a low profile. I'm easy to pick on. I've always had to just have a certain sense, like a street sense, and not get myself into trouble. And if I get into it, like getting out. I mean, that's all I'm saying. You gotta look ahead of you and see the trap before you step into it.
I don't believe we have the time or the means to institute any disruption of the social hierarchy of Skullport at this point.
Tier's like messing with his fingernails, kind of like, it just very casually says it.
You make a good point there.
I mean, what he's saying. I mean, Tier. He's not just a pretty face. I mean, he's. You saw that guy he sings some songs and the money just pours in.
It's just I have nothing to lose, right? We're passing through this town, and if I can make just a little bit of impact.
Well, look, I'm
not trying to restructure the whole hierarchy. You really made it sound like I'm trying to disrupt. It's just if I could kick one guy off his pedestal, falls over.
It's like a crier up in Waterdeep with the latest news. Latest news, mass rebellion in Skullport.
It's like the Che Guevara of Skullport all of a sudden. It's like, take it easy, bro. Hasta la revolución siempre.
it's anarchy down here. Let's be honest. Okay, there's no structure. It's chaos.
Well, I mean, look, do you want to get into a scrap or two for some money or not? That's like.
I definitely want to do that.
Well, there you go.
It occurs to me now that I don't think I've ever actually even considered bothering trying to cause some type of societal change in my entire life.
Rahi, I think you're very well positioned to impact on some good positive change. You have a good heart, and you've probably been bullied a lot through your life as well. You know, I think that there's a lot of things that you would probably like to change if you could.
I mean, at a personal level, certainly, but honestly, I didn't really have much of a problem with my environment for most of my life. Well, I suppose at least half of my life.
Well, what's your aspiration? Like, what do you want to fix the way you look? Do you want to?
I honestly don't particularly care. There's one self-righteous prick that I want to show up, that's all. Modest aspirations. Actually, sort of what you're trying to do now that I think about it. Except you're choosing to do it with violence, and I try to do it, I suppose, through sheer stubbornness, I guess.
It's just sometimes, there's a lot of languages down here, and I think the most influential, impactful language can sometimes be violence.
It is fairly understandable. Yes.
Well,
Why
Anyway,
don't you go get into a fight over there? And
what is your plan exactly?
Yeah, to be honest, as we were walking down here, I was like, this is a bad idea, but I can't tell everybody it's a bad idea. But now I'm telling you guys it's a bad idea. But either way, I think we should still participate in the fights. I don't have any plan.
So just a simple, some simple blood sports.
how close are we to the markets?
I'd say you're meandering through the alleyways having this conversation. And then at some point you stumble out onto one of the main streets and you're now approaching the markets. You can see the stalls that have been set up. What was shut down has turned into like cantilevered canopies and tents and like kiosks and like kind of like these little impromptu pop-ups that suddenly fill what was once a very empty kind of area. You could see that dozens and dozens of people are here. You could see at least a handful of Skulls Watch people kind of keeping an eye on the crowd, making sure that nothing gets too out of hand. You could hear people hawking their wares. The sound of dozens of voices barking out, spices and supplies and equipment and all sorts of things seem to be bought and sold and traded here.
Okay, I'm going to use this opportunity with the deep conversation in the crowd to just kind of slip into the crowd and move into the marketplace.
Give me a stealth check as you do that.
Oh man, 16.
16.
You say that like that's a low roll.
Compared to what he does, yeah. But for us average folk, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, he's like rolling 27 over here. He's like,
I rolled a
fuck.
0 this session.
I rolled a 20.
But I know that Winter's going to see me.
I'm
what
like
you
ready.
do watch as Tyr just kind of casually steps out of the group and does his best to blend in, while Rahi and Alexander are in this conversation. Although you kept Tyr, you keep an eye on Tyr as he does this, but you get the feeling he's doing this with the intent to maybe take advantage or to gain some insight on the market. But you watch him slip off, but the other two don't notice.
I'm just trying to wrap up this conversation so I can also participate in market conversations.
Okay.
But I don't notice him leaving, obviously.
Mm. So anything else you guys want to do as you approach the markets at this point?
What are you looking for, Alexander? I'm curious. Just in general, why are you an adventurer?
You know, it's kind of a difficult question because
Not for me.
I sort of lost my purpose along the way when I lost my parents, and I just tried to survive on my own. And I think all I really wanted was to sort of raise my status from somebody that nobody recognized into somebody that somebody recognized, and create some sort of impact. Although I'm still sort of finding my way and still discovering what that is. And I think this conversation sort of gave me maybe a little bit more insight on how lost I actually am. I think the goal would be to just sort of learn more and gain some sort of insights, but I don't think I can do that by just meandering through tunnels and hoping that I'll find some sort of treasure, because at this point I don't think the money is a motivator anymore.
If you want to create an impact, there are plenty of warm bodies around that you could dispose of. I've seen you Misty step away. I think you could get away from it. Get away with it. Do that a couple times. Then you'll make a great impact to these people, at least. So
that's what I was thinking. You mean kill the evil? Is that what you're describing?
No, I'm referring to mass indiscriminate murder. You said you wanted to create an impact.
Sounds dark the way you say it.
It's like as Tyr slips off and Wintrude is staring at the market, like Rahi with her veil, it's just kind of her height and you being kind of tall as well. Just gives you this very passive conversational tone about mass murder. Like, very,
you know, focused. I thought that's like when you said it like that, it's like it's kind of what I wanted, but after you said it, now I don't think I do. Now, I'm having a little bit of a internal dilemma. This conversation needs to end. I can't I can't anymore. I don't know. I just you know, and he's just frustrated because he it's almost like he thought he had purpose, and now he just really feels like he's like completely lost. He's like, I don't know what I want now. Murder sounds a little violent.
I start
innocent.
I start patting him on the calf.
All right, so Alex, look, there's a lot in your mind going on and everything. We managed to book passage for tomorrow back up to Waterdeep. And we can fill you in on some more of the details. But let's head back above then and get your head straight a little bit.
Waterdeep? Is this what you guys were doing while I was asleep?
Yeah.
What is there for me in Waterdeep?
What? I'm sorry?
What's there for me in Waterdeep?
Well, I mean, you can get some time out of the Underdark and, going deeper into the Undermountain and just get it. You've made quite a bit of coin for all the complaining about riches and stuff like that. Get yourself some nice rooms. Get yourself some nice meals. Give yourself some time to think and reflect.
Are you saying that this cave dwelling experience is maybe corrupting me a little bit? Is that what you're implying?
No, I think you need a break is all.
I don't need a break, okay?
As he just kind of like yells back at you. I'm fine.
Okay. I mean, hey, look, you don't even have to go back up with us, but I think some fresh air, some sunlight. I can take you to Candlekeep. There's all sorts of scholars and great people to talk to there. And then we'll head back down here.
Did you just Cartman Alexander? Cartman, do you need to talk to somebody?
Basically, yeah. Not gonna lie, I mean.
So with that, Tyr has slipped off into the market. The three of you are approaching the markets. Gelmir is in recovery, and we're going to finish here on day 9. And we're going to take next week off, and when we come back the following week, we'll be in the markets. We'll have Gelmir back, and we'll be journeying down into the House of Pain and see what that has to offer us as well. So thanks everybody for coming out. We really do appreciate it. And we will be back in 2 weeks. You guys go ahead and linger so we can talk about schedules. Other than that, be kind, be nice, be safe, play a game. It's good for you. We'll see you guys all in 2 weeks. Thanks everybody.